What up, brother?
You can hear me.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I was just making sure, man. I was like, damn, I wonder if everybody can hear me.
Bro, I see the will book. I got the will book right behind me too, somewhere over there.
Oh, nice. You
Yeah,
finished it?
yeah. No, I haven't even started it, bro. He's, big influence in my life, so I had to buy it the day it came out, and I just put it on the shelf until I get to it.
Right, for sure, for sure. I'm like halfway through with it. It's it's
It's,
it's, it's pretty good, man. It's pretty good.
yeah, even before all this stuff happened, I'm just very interested in his way of thinking, So, and I always try to support what he does. He's been in my life, probably your life, the same amount of time. So, I'm a big
Right.
fan of his.
Right, for sure, man, for sure. Well, listen, man, this is episode 50 of the Low Theory. You're finally on the Low Theory. You made it. It's been a long time coming.
Bro, I
But
appreciate you having me, bro. This means a lot to me, especially with like all the folks you already had on. You had legends on, So I appreciate this.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Not a problem at all, man. You did your thing with the book, so I had to bring you on so we can chop it up about it. Let's start it off, man. There's a lot of people who might not be familiar with you. Go ahead and just kind of introduce yourself. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, bro. So my name is Matteo. I'm from Boston. I wrote about five, maybe 7 years ago, 6 years ago, I wrote a Bone Thugs and Harmony book, and that was a really cool experience. And just wanted to do something that I hadn't seen out there before. I hadn't seen their story before, especially the way I tried to capture what they meant to hip hop and also their personal life. And then about 2 years ago, I wanted to do something else long form, and so I did this Wu-Tang Art Book where, there's a lot of books on Wu-Tang and a lot of good books on Wu-Tang, including some from themselves. The new Raekwon book, I got that somewhere over there. Um,
Hell yeah.
yeah, and RZA, in the Wu-Tang manual, so many. Shout out Skiz. He sent me his book. His book's over there. And so I wanted to do something a little different than just tell the Wu-Tang story. They have the Hulu doc, and they have so many things that are already telling their tale. And so what I wanted to do was take an art perspective. I'm a artist. I'm a visual artist and an illustrator, but I've tried to kind of get more towards writing. And so I thought Wu-Tang always has such dope cover art, and obviously they're big up on comics and cover art themselves. So I wanted to celebrate their cover art and just give a little bit of a different spin to the Wu-Tang canon that's already so big, you know?
Yeah. That was actually my next question. Like out of everything, like it's kind of rare that someone would focus on the art covers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but because do you have a degree in art or a degree in journalism? Like, why focus on the art?
Bro, I'm not, no degrees. Just, I just grew up as an illustrator, you know what I'm saying? And then I got into photography and writing. And when I discovered Wu-Tang, I was just so heavy into comics and so heavy into martial arts, and everything that they were doing is kind of where my life was already at as like a 10-year-old kid or so. And so I just thought it was an extra layer of dopeness that I was like like you see the Liquid Swords cover art, and it's so iconic, and it's iconic just as what it is, but also for a kid like me who's into martial arts and who's into comics. And so I just
Yeah,
thought I'd never seen, what I'm saying, I'd never seen a project before talk about how well crafted some of their cover art is and how specific some of their cover art is, especially in a digitized music industry now. Some of their, like the Grandmasters album with Jizza and Muggs is just like, it's beautiful artwork. So I just wanted to make sure somebody got a light on that, that the artists themselves, not necessarily Wu-Tang, but the people who did the art should get some sort of kind of recognition. So that was kind of the genesis of it.
yeah, absolutely. That's really cool, man. Now, the intro to this book, you got Redman.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How did that whole thing come to be?
Bro, I tell this story before because the funniest thing is like some people were hard to get, and that's fine. I understand. Obviously, there's no expectations. But once he understood that it was for like, so all the profits for the book would go into More Than Words over in the South End of Boston, and that's a nonprofit for risk or at-risk youth in Boston. So once he understood the concept of where the funds were going, we exchanged phone numbers, and he called me. He's like, "Yo, it's Red. What's good? What do you need?" He's like, "Yo, if you want to do it on the phone, you want me to text, you want to email." And so he was like the easiest person to work with. And it's funny because his
Wow.
name stands out the most. I mean, people like Term and Mo Pope, I mean, they're super easy to work with, but I kind of, they're like homies from a couple of years. But Redman on the level he's at, and Master Ace too. I have a really good relationship with Master Ace, and he's a legend too. But I don't really count those because they're like, I've worked with them before, and I kind of know those cats. I didn't really know Redman, and so for him to be who he was is like, it was amazing how down to earth he was. And then the intro that he wrote was like the most Redman intro. You know what I'm saying? It was
Oh,
pure
definitely.
Redman. So it's like,
Yeah, when you read it, you can definitely hear him speak for
right,
sure, dude, for
right.
sure. Hold on one second, man.
Yeah, bro.
Um, that no, that's true. I think that was a great look from him. I
Yeah,
mean, especially being like almost an extended version of the
yeah,
Wu. You know what I mean?
yeah,
With him
yeah,
and Meth, joining forces. Here's what I like about the book too, is that the chapters are broken up into 36 chambers, which is obviously a reference for the Wu. So I thought that was pretty cool the way you did that. Another thing that I enjoyed was, I mean, the whole book is basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you got these covers, but you got the illustrators of these album covers to kind of give their own take about the process on creating the covers, correct?
yeah. I wanted to kind of, like I said, because I grew up illustrating, and I took that pretty far, but I'm nowhere as far as these guys, and so I wanted to kind of understand what their process was, what materials they use, what did it mean for them, because they might not even be a fan of Wu, and somebody like me has been a fan for, like, almost 30 years, and so I just wanted to understand what their process was, and also how they actually crafted it from the inspiration to the materials. So some of the passages, like Nubian Image was one of my favorite people to interview for the book, because he really got in depth with what the mental process was and also the tools he used. And so I just wanted to stick to illustrations, kind of photography is its own project, illustrations, and then the Czarface chapter. I couldn't get those images cleared, but I really wanted to get
I
the
was going to ask
finest.
you about that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and I went back and forth with those guys for about a year, and it got to the point where I just had to go with it, and I respect them trying to basically protect their work, but I would try to explain to them what it was, and everybody else had already cleared it, and the profits aren't for, there is no profits, and so it is what it is. But I wanted to make sure I included what I thought was the dopest cover art that kind of fitted in the mold of the 36 chapters, but also with the illustration style.
Right, for sure. So in your opinion, what's the best album cover out of the Wu?
Man, I mean, Liquid Swords has been with me for many years. I remember when Grandmasters dropped, I went to the store and I just was so blown away with, like, that was when you go to the store and you buy the CD and you take out the gatefold.
Hmm.
But I think Wu Massacre was probably my
Yeah,
favorite.
Wu
Yeah.
Masker was crazy. Yeah.
And that's probably one of the top artists in the book, and he created like almost a whole comic book from that, similar to 12 Reasons to Die and 36 Seasons. I think Wu Massacre at the end of the day, just because the amount of detail that went into that was crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And you touched on something. I remember like growing up, buying the physical copies of the
Yeah,
CD, the cover art is super important, but
yeah,
opening up the album cover itself is also important because you actually got to see, who the writers were, who the producers were, you know, the thank yous, like all that, super
yeah,
big. So yeah, and it's hard now because everything's digital.
yeah.
So it's hard to find that information now. You can find it, but it wasn't as easy accessible when you opened up that album cover. So I think that's pretty cool, man. Um,
What's your favorite cover, whether it's in the book or just in general?
well, I mean, like art wise, I mean, the Liquid Swords for sure, man. I'm more of a photography type. Like I love the Nas Illmatic album,
Yeah,
the simplicity of it, the way that it's just held its own years, so many years after,
yeah,
where people have marketed on T-shirts. I mean, when you see Nas as a kid, it's just such a monumental album cover, man. His emotion speaks so much volume, you
yeah.
know.
What's
So I
what's
love I
crazy?
love that.
I didn't
Yeah.
mean to cut you off. I'm sorry,
Okay.
but for Illmatic, what's crazy is, like, that's an album that, I mean, to say it's a classic is an understatement, but the cover art matches it, and that's rare. You know what I'm saying? Like, the cover art's dope, and the album could have been trash, but and the album could have been dope, and the cover art could have been just a disc.
Definitely.
But it's crazy.
Right, right. Now let me ask you, man. So before I ask you this question, actually, you have the book behind you. Why don't you bring it a little bit closer so that people can actually
Yeah,
see
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Maybe flip through a couple pages, and then I'll ask the question. I want people to actually get the image. Um, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we wanted to make it, coffee table style, so that similar to a CD or even an album. You know what I'm saying? You pick it up and you feel it and you connect with it. The thing for me is when I used to buy CDs and everything like this, I felt a deeper connection when because I would read every single liner note, I'd read every single thank you again and again. And to buy a CD back then for me was kind of a big deal because I didn't have, I don't really come from much. And so I really try to connect with these things. And so I didn't want to make this into an ebook. I mean, just because I didn't think the value was there, you know what I'm saying? I wanted people to feel it,
You wanted
Yeah,
to you wanted to stick to make sure it was tangible.
Yeah, tangible, and I just think it's dope. The cover art's dope. I mean, it's Gary Alford, and ebooks is, I have a lot of ebooks myself on Audible and all that, and I appreciate the value of the storytelling. But for something like this, I just wanted to make it kind of more of a piece,
For sure. Now, the question I was going to say is, why did you, out of all these album covers, like, why did you put a lot of focus on the affiliates? Some of the albums I didn't even know about. Why that emphasis?
Yeah, so I got to the point where I was about 24, somewhere around mid-20s deep, and I said, okay, clearly this has to be 36. I mean, you just have to tie that in, you know what I'm saying? And then the other part is I just didn't. There's so many albums that they have done. Like, are you familiar with the RZA Birth of a Prince cover?
Nah.
So that's his first quote-unquote RZA solo album outside of the Bobby Digital series, and the color tones on that is just like a light blue with the white, and the images. It's a beautiful photo. So they have so many photography, photos, and obviously, you could go down the list. Supreme Clientele, and they have just as many iconic photo cover albums. But I just wanted to really, I try to have almost no barriers, but the only barriers I tried to set was that it's going to be like, if not pen and ink or pencil and ink, it had to be some sort of illustration, and we're going to cap it at 36. And so I kind of got to the point where I had to almost dig up a couple, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't really miss on any except the Method Man alter egos, the Takal alter egos, which is like a Japanese import from Def Jam Japan, and their original Wu Chronicles series that kind of had some dope art too. But I got to the point where I almost ran out of material from just like strictly Wu members, so I had to branch out and kind of discover some other folks.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. So as you were doing this book, you actually were learning things as well.
Yeah. Again, I got some feedback. Someone was like, "Oh, you went too deep on the," or someone did a review and they said too deep on the affiliates, and it's kind of like I was just trying to celebrate the art that's connected to Wu. I didn't want to keep it at just like the 12 dopest covers or something. There was too much out there,
Right. That's true. That's dope. That's good. I mean, great for those guys. You're shining a little bit of light on them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, the book has been out for a little bit. If you could go back now, what would you change about it?
Oh, that's a really good question, bro. Well, bro, the funny thing is like I wanted to make sure we controlled the profits so we could donate them all, and so we publish it ourselves. I mean, we opened up a company and we did everything official, but I had to learn on the job, and it was really hard to discover all that while also kind of crafting it. So it took about 2 years to get everything start to finish. But the way I work as an artist and a writer is I just try to be super organic and let the process just go how it's going to go, and then when it's ending, that's when it's over. So maybe a tighter time frame, just because I probably could have gotten it done sooner. And then also I think me personally, basically long story short is we got this distribution through the largest distributor in the world, but their quality of this type of book is lower than say a Rizzolo or something, because they don't have like the glossy pages. And so I really wanted the pages and the images to really pop and shine. And so this is the highest quality paper they have and the highest quality everything, but the images don't necessarily are captured like the disc booklet. So just a couple small things, nothing serious, I mean, to get Redman, and then there's Gino Iannucci on the back end is just like the Redman of skateboarding, if you will. So I got so many people that I was just so blessed and honored to be involved. There's really nothing, just a couple small tweaks, What would you? I don't know if you have any feedback, because I'd love to hear if like you would say, "Yo, I would have,"
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I think just one thing I would say is the book is dope, by the way. And if you guys don't have it, please go and search for it and get it. But I would say I would like the actual cover images to be a little bit larger. Yeah. To kind of fill the space up a little bit in the page. Yeah. But that's really about it. I thought it was really cool that I'm an artist as well, not just a rap artist, not just whatever artist. I actually draw, right? So learning about the process from the illustrators, I thought was a pretty cool perspective, in my opinion. But I would
Yeah.
like to see the images a little bit bigger. I want to see the details. You feel
Yep.
me?
No, I feel you. And one of the things I got was like, so we got clearance on all of them, but some people were like, yo, you're on your own to get the image. And so like the graphic designer had to kind of like extrapolate it to the point where she's like, yo, you're going to lose quality if we make it bigger. So the same cat who said, yo, you did too many affiliates, he said, you should have made it smaller and made it the size of a CD or something. So it's a flip book. So the images would have been condensed, which is a good idea, but just doing this for the first time on my own and just doing what we thought was the right thing to do, and then it came out the way it came out. But I agree with you. I wish the images, that was the whole point, is to capture the images. And so some of them are on point, some of them are a little blurry, I guess you could say. But
Yeah.
I agree with your feedback. I say it that way.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the artists themselves, when you first were trying to reach out to them, were they really receptive of the whole thing, like, and willing to give you their original? Because some of the stuff in the art book is not from the album. Like, you got original sketches and so forth, right? Like, were they super receptive?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. Nobody was not down. Some people were harder to reach, and some people were less responsive, just because they were like, "Yo, I got you. Give me a couple months." Okay, so we'll sit on that. But I think by and large, most people were like, "Yo, I appreciate the shine because, we do a lot of like artists. They're not speaking in general, but they're saying like, yo, I do a lot of work, and you don't even. Some of the cats said like, yo, I didn't even get a copy of the album when it dropped, and they were kind of like." Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So they were like really appreciative, I thought. And for me, it was an art book, or it's an art book about artists that kind of falls under a Wu umbrella. So it's not like a Wu. I mean, it's an art book, And so I really wanted to make sure that like they were front and center. And I think I hopefully did a good job translating that to them, because they were, like, get you the images, tell me what else you need, tell me if this came out good. And so it was a really cool collaborative process for sure.
Absolutely, man. Now, you mentioned it earlier, but touch on this again. So the book is tied to a nonprofit. Yeah. Tell me about that nonprofit again.
So it's called More Than Words. It's in the South End of Boston. So basically what they do is they have job training for at-risk youth of Boston, and they basically run a nonprofit bookstore. They also obviously have an online presence, but they have a physical bookstore that these kids come in, whether they're state involved or foster care involved, and they work selling books, but they also get life skills training, college prep training. And so incredible organization. One of my best friends works there, and I used to work there for about a year myself. And so I kind of realized early on that, like, I didn't really care about profiting about this at all. I just wanted to make it happen. But also it was going to be like a lot easier to make it happen if people realized I wasn't trying to make money off of their work or their words. I just wanted to make the product. And so once I was like, I don't care about making the money about it at all. And once I kind of made that paradigm shift, people were like so cool about it, especially like the record labels like Nature Sounds. And some of these people like, oh, okay, if that's what the project is, yeah, use what you want. You know what I'm saying? So it made it really easy for me to get it done, but also it was just like an honor to do that because they're a dope organization and it's all good. So I don't know how you feel, right? But as an artist, it's like all I care about is doing the thing and making the product, and like funds or like recognition, all those things, like whatever. I just care about like making the thing as close to my vision as possible. And I was able to do that. And so if that was like in exchange for a profit, that's like, I'll do that all day. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, absolutely. That's how it should be. You should be focusing on your craft, and the other stuff just let it come along naturally.
Yeah.
So that's great, man. So let the people know where they can find this book. Also where they can follow you, because I want to ask you, like I said, the book's been out for a little bit. Is there anything new in the works? What do you got cooking?
Bro, I like to be a shadow, to be honest, bro. I didn't even want my name on it. I was going to put my first name on it, but I failed to give that direction to the graphic designer. So it is what it is. But no, we were selling it ourselves, and actually got a little bit out of control with trying to sell it. It was doing really well. So basically shut that down. It was on Get On Down, and they sold out their copies. So now
salute Get On Down.
Salute Get On Down for sure. The homie Adam over there really held it down, and so it's on Amazon. I mean, it's everywhere now. If you put it in Google, it's on Barnes and Noble and Amazon and all these places. But I've seen a lot of sales come through on Amazon mostly, so I think that's where folks is picking it up. As for me, what I'm working on right now is trying to get into the Coast Guard Reserve, actually. So I'm figuring that out. But also, creatively, I got a couple screenplays that I really want to, and basically they're about Boston. So you'd be down with those. But I'm I'm trying to turn one of those screenplays into a graphic novel because I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it into a movie
Oh,
myself.
wow.
Yeah, so
Really?
that'll be, yeah, I'll share that with you as soon as, that's like my dream project. So I really want to clear some space for that and work on that. So that's what's next.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very dope. Very
Thanks,
dope.
brother.
Where can people get the best lobster rolls in Mass?
Bro, I'm a vegan. Bro. I could
Oh,
tell you
you're a vegan.
the best
Well,
celery. You know what I'm saying?
well, give us the best vegan spot right now for all my vegans.
Yo, the best vegan I think is man, there's a couple. I think Greenleaf in Framingham is really good, and then there's a spot
Okay.
called man, I went there yesterday. Oh, it's called Mother Juice. I was in there yesterday. It's over in the Boston Public Market. I think it's called Mother Juice, fresh pressed juice, something like that. I had a whole meal in a juice bottle. It was delicious. So,
Really?
yeah. Are you
Shout
still
out.
you in AZ still? Are you
Yeah,
back
yeah,
home?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
in AZ still,
yeah,
man. I'm in AZ still. But I go back to Mass once a year.
yeah.
You know what
I
I
wish
mean?
I could,
So
you know what I'm saying, be the plug for the lobster rolls that I'll be eating.
no, it's all good, man. I love that. I love that you're vegan, man. That's great, bro. Listen, that's about it, man.
Yeah.
On the low theory, we keep it short, sweet, and concise. I think we really we got a lot condensed into this, 20 24 minutes of conversation. For those who will be listening on the podcast and watching this on YouTube, make sure that you guys follow Matteo, listen to what he said, because that's where you're going to go and be able to purchase this book, especially on Amazon, because you said Amazon is the best place to get it. So get it, put it on your coffee table, flip the pages, get inspired, get that nostalgia when you cop the Jizza album, and continue doing your thing, bro. I appreciate you jumping on the platform.
Well, I appreciate you, bro, and shout out you and shout out Edo G, Master A's Term, Static Select, all the folks, especially the Mo Pope and Boston folks, and this is a
Yeah.
big deal for me to join your show, so I really appreciate
Oh
you
yeah,
making
yeah,
space
yeah,
for me,
yeah.
bro.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, my pleasure, man. My pleasure. Especially because you're from the city, man, and you're trying to create a movement. I gotta rock with it, bro.
I appreciate you, brother.
All right, man. Well, listen. Have a great night, and we'll chop it up soon.
I'll see you soon, brother.
All right, peace.
Peace.